Welcome to your new home, honey.
Okay, put me down.
You're so cute.
Okay, put me down.
Okay. Yeah, it's nice, right?
Yeah, it's nice. Something weird is going on in this house. I can feel it. You just can't see it.
Are you listening to yourself? Are you serious?
You know what? That is so typical. You never believe me.
I know moving is really difficult, but you're gonna be alright. You're gonna be fine. It's not like it's gonna kill you.
Thank you for joining us on the Downing Cut. Today, our guest is Edgar Garcia Chavez, who is an award-winning independent filmmaker from Mexico, now based in Portland, Oregon. He founded Nayo Creative Productions in 2020 and has directed several acclaimed short films, including Black and White and the trailer we just saw, The Ghost of Recent Past. His award-winning work spans short films, a cooking show for the visually impaired, and his first feature film, The Subcontractor, set to release later this year. Welcome to the Downing Cut, Edgar. How are you?
I'm really good. Thank you for having me. Very excited to spend some time talking about film. I was trying to, very interesting to see, just to share experiences and see what other people are doing. And hopefully, thank you for inviting me for this platform as well. Hopefully, people will see it and thank you for the opportunity as well.
Well, thank you for coming on and taking a chance. I got to ask you, I don't know if I said this correctly. Nayo Creative Productions?
Yeah, that's correct. So it's like so there's always a Nayo as a correct pronunciation in English. Nayo would be in Spanish, but
Nayo.
it is. So the name actually is going to say a little quick stuff. So the name is the nickname of my grandfather. So that's the name for it.
Okay.
So it's completely random.
That's good to know.
It's completely random, right?
That's excellent to know because I looked it up and I was like, so what does this mean?
So it is. My family is originally from a small town in Chihuahua, it's a state in northern New Mexico, just south of Texas, New Mexico, and Arizona. So my grandpa's name is Bernardo, but in that specific region, the nickname for Bernardo is Nayo. So when I was little, that was my middle name, Bernardo, as well, and that's what they called me when I was little. And I don't know what. So yeah, it's not like a meaning for the specific word. It's more like a relation to a family connection.
I did a Google search. It came up West African, Japanese.
What they say? I
didn't. In West Africa and Japanese cultures, Japanese Nayo can be written, and then it means vegetable, greenery, generation, tree. And then West Africa, it means she is our joy. Now, even in Spanish, Spanish came up and it said foolish, dumb, silly, dim-witted, slow. So I was like, so where? I was trying to figure out what's
one
his angle.
I feel they all apply though. I feel like there's a little bit of that in everything. I mean, I like nature. I'm silly as well. You know what I mean? Once in a while.
That's good though. I mean, family members especially, they bring you joy, and I think that's really important. So let's dive into the interview. One question, there's a few questions I always ask our guests, and my first one is, how did your journey start into film production?
Let me see how it starts. So I'm an architect by training. So I have a master's in architecture from the School of University of New Mexico, and then I live in New York for a while, and then we moved here to Portland. And here in Portland, I started taking classes like 7 years ago at the Northwest Film Center and at the Open Signal Portland Community Media. So in there, I like film, and I started say, okay, how it works, how is it that it like actually works, right? So what you need, what equipment, and so I started actually doing film, like 16 millimeters, Super 8, and it was a lot of fun, right? So it's like it was fun, but it was intimidating and like nerve wracking because 100 feet of film will get you 2 minutes with no
Right.
sound, right? Because I didn't know how to do sound at the time. Uh, so I was taking some stuff, and it was a lot of fun. I like the look of it, but when you develop, then you don't know what you're getting, right? And if you want to reshoot again, especially here in Portland, the weather and the landscape completely changes. Like in a week, it's full of trees, and next week there's no tree. I mean, no leaves, right? Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, so I started collaborating with people, and I help in their projects, they help in mine. And in 2020, at the end of 2019, 2020, I was laid off from my job as an architect, uh, and I had a few clients. So that's when they decided to make the jump. So I had some time to say, okay, how the business works. So I set up the company, trying to get an LLC and start like looking for clients more, like doing other projects. And luckily I was I'm trying to find some people, and I trying to keep at least as much I can doing like more like narratives and more like art, like 50% and 50% be commercial, right? In that way, kind of trying to get that balance. So yeah, so far so good. I mean, I've been able to have several short films. I think I've done around 40 short films, uh, and we got a feature film, and I do a few um, music videos, and I have the cooking show for blind people. Um, so yeah, so it's been a lot of like a lot of things that I has having involved, right? So been keeping me busy, and I started doing film festivals and tried to go there and meeting people, and some of them are collaborators now. For the Ghost of Recent Past, the composer, I met her in San Diego in a festival. She was playing her film. I really liked the music. I thought that was very beautiful what she did in that one, and I invited to work in the Ghost of Recent Past, and I think she did a great job. And then she invited her again to the Subcontractor, so um, she's scoring that part too. But she went back to Malaysia now, but now with technology, I mean, it's not
Yeah.
a big of a deal, right? But yeah, so that's kind of like the journey that took me to
That's awesome.
filmmaking.
What 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 sparked filmmaking though? I mean, you said COVID. I mean, obviously, that was a drastic hit for a lot of people. What was it as far as film? Was it something that you were always interested in, or was it like as a child, as a teenager? You know, how did that
So
enter into
so
the realm?
I like imagery. So I used to do like paintings, drawing, that kind of stuff, and I think that's kind of drove me to architecture to start, because I was like sketching and learn how to draw and all that. But architecture is, I mean, it has a lot of beautiful things, but it's more technical in other ways, right? And it's limited as well, right? You have to deal with gravity or other
Yeah,
things, right? So what film, like I feel, is just like you can just create anything like that you want, right? If you want, like right now, I can set you on fire, or could you fly or explode, or aliens coming
yeah,
in, or whatever you can think, you can create, right? So that's what I was like very like interested on, like how you tell a story, and how, because when I first started, it was not really a story, it was just images, more abstract, and that kind of stuff was a lot of fun to make as well. But yeah, that's kind of like what it like. I think like and one thing that I like as well is the community around it, right? So when I first started, I was doing everything, camera, sound, and everything. And as the project got a little bit bigger, they said, okay, I need help with a person that is really good at camera only, and somebody's really good at sound, and somebody's really good at makeup and wardrobe and location and management and produce. Once you get a team, then your product is so much better, right? And I think I like that community part of it. Like it needs a lot, and you say for the most part it's a good experience, but there's bad experience as well, right? People are really sometimes mean and say it and whatever, right? But yeah, so that's kind of
yeah,
like, I think I came from the idea of like visually, and I think like that's what I did at the very beginning, was focusing mostly on the visual part, on the image, and I was not that concerned with sound, and that took me a while to understand how sound work, how to work with that, and then, but not only sound, the dialogue is like Foley sounds, and music score, how to like the score creates or enhances the film, right? Or sometimes helps like covers on mistakes, or stuff like that,
Yeah, absolutely.
and visually as well, right? You get stuff and like, because we don't have budget to reshoot, right? So what we shoot, then we have to fix it in post, right? So yeah, so I like that. It's like, let's basically your imagination, right? Whatever you can think of, you can create it, So I think that's what I think is, to me, is very appealing, and
And
I
you're
mean,
not
like,
bound by gravity.
exactly, gravity is like, ooh.
Yeah, you can do whatever you want. Are
Exactly.
those your paintings behind? Are those your paintings behind you?
Yeah, some of them are. This is one of my friends, but this is mine. I can see it. This is, well, I'll
Yeah,
show a few others. This is mine.
awesome.
Yeah. So I have like
Yeah,
I guess I'll move the camera a little bit, give you a tour. So
that's great.
that's me. And other, let me see what my technique it might be, but yeah. So that's a few other as the goes and stuff. So
I'm excited to kind of dive in because you're an architecture by nature, and the way you think is very structured and linear. So we're gonna we'll start asking some questions
yeah,
about that. But
people,
first,
people always ask me, "Oh,
yeah,
there's nothing in common." It's like, well, there's a lot of things in common once you start thinking about it.
yeah, like an engineer.
Yeah, exactly.
What you've done? You said you did like 40 shorts. Tell me, in your opinion, your perspective, what makes a good actor?
To me, what makes a good actor is somebody is open to work with me to develop the character. Like, so for the most part, like a lot of people say is like, we are looking for something. So like when all the actors send me a reel or send me more stuff, and I was saying it's like, if you're open to work with me, like, you gotta trust me, or then let's work together to take this character to a different level, right? Because I find sometimes like actors, and especially actors that have more experience, they're saying like, this is what I do, this is what I came out, this is the result you're gonna get, right? And sometimes trying to push it, okay, can we do this way, and trying to move this other way and experiment and change things, and and a lot of times tell them it's like, you have to trust me, because sometimes I'm looking for something and I don't have the words to explain what is it yet, or at some point, right? Because the stuff came out with a lot of things, right? So I like philosophy, I like other things, and sometimes try to explain, sometimes influence, and sometimes religion. I like rituals a lot of times, so I like repetition. I think that's one of the main things in sports as well. Sports is also a ritual. You have a framework and you have rules, and you repeat those rules, but the results every time is different. So I'm trying to work with the actors to say, okay, how are we going to work together to get this character or this feeling or this to go in that direction, right? So the actors, to me, I'm saying they're not necessarily. I have worked with actors. They say, okay, this is what you get. You know what I mean? They're really good, but this is it, right? And then we're trying to push them. Sometimes, or they're defensive about it. So sometimes, so to me, I feel like there's more like if people come up and they're like, we're gonna come together to something, but we don't know that something, right? And that's what it comes in some way. Architecture, we're projecting, right? We're trying to predict what we're gonna get, but in the process, we might get something different, and that's fine too. So I'm trying to get. So a lot of the actors tell us like, um, the writing or the script obviously is like the main structure, but I'm not like usually like married to specific words. Sometimes, yeah, you gotta nail certain words, but the more important is like, do you understand what we're going with and what is the direction where to take it? So that's what I find to me. And to me, I mean, and I don't have as much experience, but I feel there's like two kind of actors. So there's the actors that um, need a lot of help and they want to know everything, like why I picked this color, why there's the wall, this stuff. And there's the other kind of actors that don't want or need any help, that they know, I got it, you give me stuff and get it. So I think as a director, they're trying to be there for both kinds. So like, if you need me a lot or not, they're trying to be there and trying to get this. A lot of times try to tell people that you gotta trust me because I have your best interest at heart, right? You want to do the best, because if you do good, I do good. People will say, okay, this is a great actor. Oh, who's the director? Who's the so it's a collaboration that always try to be open to feedback and trying to tell and trying to see how uh, that works, right? But we still have the parameter, right? So we still have rules. We have the script. We have location. So that's what I'm saying. It is a constrained environment, and from there we're gonna create together, right? So I always like a lot rehearsals, especially with people who are like couples or something like that they have to kiss or they have to touch in certain way, because I feel like that um, the camera captures everything. So if they're like really like um, distant and stuff like, oh, the people are not going to believe you're a couple, you're going to believe you're an actor pretend to be a couple, right? Kind of. So
Right.
yeah, that's kind of my take on actors. I like them.
Just to paraphrase, so basically you said there was actors who kind of say this is what you're going to get, and then you have actors who go, I need to know what this is about, ABC. I need to know why this is blue. Which do you have a preference? Which one that you work with better?
I usually it's like asking a parent which is your favorite kid, right? You know what I mean? So it's like I'm like I love them equally, right? So I had to be for both,
Yeah.
right? So I had to be all the
Yeah.
stuff, because a lot of the times, like for the subcontractors, we have actors like one actor specifically very late in the game, and she wanted to know everything, right? And even we're shooting something else, she went, "What do you do this?" and stuff, even though it's not her scene. Like she just got nothing to do with that one, but she was like trying to uh, uh, just wanted to know, right? And that's almost like, okay, I'll tell you later, right? Stuff, but I'm saying it's like I like it equally, right? I'm trying to get, and in both, sometimes you got to push more and trying to understand there's personalities and that kind of stuff, and there's egos, there's other things, but
Yeah.
but I think for the most part, everybody understands that we're in the same, we have the same goal. We're trying to achieve the same thing. So I love him. I love all my children. I don't have children, but if I had them, I love it equally.
I'm looking at your IMDb right now. You've also been an actor.
I have,
What kind of
yeah,
an actor? What kind of an actor are you?
Not very good.
You come across as like, this is what I can give you, and that's it.
No, I'm not like, because they cast me because I'm Mexican, right? So they need someone to speak Spanish and stuff. It's fine, and we do stuff, but I don't remember lines. It's not easy for me. Like
Okay.
I because it's usually sometimes they're in Spanish, sometimes in English. So sometimes I gotta think in English, or I gotta say this word, but you are acting what is happening. So it's just like too many things happening at the same time while acting,
Yeah.
right? While having, sometimes when they give me directions to change, it was not that easy for me, right? So I enjoy it, like the small parts here and there, but not something like I cannot really like, get like a dialogue that have like a minute or something, like we were talking, like we have this conversation scripted. I'll be like,
Yeah.
so and I would say it's fine. I think I always recommend people, like from my experience, like try everything, right? Go through it,
Yeah.
because then you're gonna learn, you're gonna see what people are coming from and all that, right? So the what I mean the actor, I did background acting because I want to see how people are like setting up, bigger productions
Sure.
and all the stuff. And I did a little bit of acting, but no, not that much. It's not my, which is fine. I mean, it's not my calling, right? So I know you're an actor as well, right?
Yeah. I've been acting. I started probably 20 years ago. So in this, been around the block here and there. Nothing famous, nothing fantastic, but enough to know. Okay, this is how you make a movie.
What kind of actor are you? You need a lot of direction, no direction. Where are you?
I am just give me a little bit, and I'll go run with it and see if it works. If it doesn't, then you can bring me back in with the sheepdog and say, nope, bring it in this way or bring it in that way, and I'll do, I'll do whatever is needed. That's kind of the acting I do.
Oh, cool.
So kind of, I'm always thinking about the character. What would the character do? And that's what kind of dictates my decisions based on. And then plus, for me, I really enjoy working with other actors because that kind of brings the level up, and it it changes your decisions.
Mm-hmm.
You as a person, and then you as an actor, you kind of figure out, oh, you're going to do that? Okay, then my character would probably do this, and then we start going down that road. But this is not about me. This is about
You want to see? Maybe we'll work together. Have an eye on you.
Oh yeah. Okay, I'll send you my IMDb page. So tell me, how has your background in architecture influenced your approach to storytelling and a visual style in filmmaking?
I mean, there's a lot of film. When I studied architecture, there's a lot of film. We studied film as well, right? So there's like really old films like Metropolis, right? Fritz Lang talks about like, I mean, I think the film, like special effects, is like way ahead of his time, and a lot of things. Cabinet of Dr. Caligari, as well. So that's in that film. It actually talks about, I don't remember the style. What is it called? Expressionism, I think.
Mm.
So the film itself, like the actual painting, like there was a time in Germany at the time, right? There actually a lot of like arts will merge together. So a lot of people do paintings, like Clouseau, right? What's his name of the other guy? Did Beauty and the Beast, that they're like 30s or something like that. Like the way they take a lot of the things, so we study a lot of those things, how that works in terms of like proportion, rhythm, scale, how to do all those things, right? So those things are direct connection, right? But a lot of things that you learn as well is critical thinking, right? So how to problem solving, how do you get those things, right? So even I always tell people one of the biggest similarities is projects, right? So you make a project, right? So you project, you're thinking you're going to get a goal and you plan to get to that goal. You're projecting something, but you're not going to know where you're going to land, right? Even architecture, people think it's a fixed thing. So it doesn't work that way, right? You can plan, you get 4 plans and everything, and then you go to the site and people make mistakes, right? They make huge mistakes. So I was working, for example, in New Mexico, I was working in a courthouse, and this is a huge courthouse, like 8-story building, and we were working there for like 2 years or something like that. So finally, we had the 4 plans on the construction, and during the construction, the footing, they made a mistakes and made it like 2 feet shorter. So
Wow.
it just happened, right? So what happened is that it was done. You cannot take it. That was the decision. You're gonna take it out, or you change all the plans. So they run the math. Changing the plan is cheaper than have to demolish and do all the stuff, right? So a lot of stuff happens, and on set, a lot of things happen. So you plan things, but then especially with COVID, right? So we have, for the subcontractors, the hair and makeup got COVID the first day we're gonna film, right? So okay, how to figure out what to do, right? They had to then find someone else and scrap and trying to get, and things sometimes get canceled, or you got to find someone else, and like anything, I think that's a lot of that mentality they come out to, that you're going to have fixed things, right? So that's why it's so important to have a good team with you that help you, got a good assistant director and like producers and helping you. It's like, okay, we need this, we need that, or this didn't work. In another, or for the for the Ghost of Recent Past, I'll tell you a funny story as well. The ghost itself, Billy, is having some health issues that week we're gonna shoot, and he couldn't come to the wardrobe rehearsal. We're gonna measure, so it's like, oh, you send us your measurements, and that'll work. But the measures he sent were wrong. So when we get the pants size, the pants didn't close for this much. And it was like, what are you gonna do with and we're trying to figure out things, and it's like, so finally a guy said, oh, I have like those what is it called, suspenders, right? So he went to get it, because the other ones were trying to connect, stuff like that, right? It's like, what are you gonna do? And a lot of stuff is the show must go on, right? Every time trying to figure out all those things. So don't say that's a lot of the connections, or that is basically a lot of films are basically planning. Once you get to filming, that's the to me, in some way, the easier part. The planning takes to make a film is just like months, sometimes years, right? Take the actors, get funding, get locations, get like, and it's similar, and you get permits. So in architecture, the same thing, right? So you need to get permits, you get to get all this. So there's a lot of similarities that translate.
So you're really learning how to mitigate the issues and kind of solve kind of the surprises that come up. I can relate. I think when I wrote Cousin before the pandemic hit, that put it on the shelf. And then after the pandemic, my pants didn't fit, so I can relate to that. And then but it gave me the opportunity to rewrite the script and kind of revisit it, the storyline, and bring it up to date and that type of thing. So I can totally, and then, fix it in post. Which
as
much the common theme,
as much you can, right?
Yeah. So what challenges have you faced in writing and directing your first feature film, The Subcontractors? other than the makeup, and then how have you overcome them?
Well, one of the first ones was money, right? How to get money. So how did I get the stuff? So because I was looking at, oh, okay, you want to do crowdfunding, but I haven't done it before, and I know it takes a lot of time and effort, right? So it's like, do you want to go in that route? But luckily, I was able to get like a couple of producers that helped me. Right? So I was self-funded, so I put some of the money, but I get other people that believe in the project, right? So and one of them is the main actor, one of the main actors. I worked with him. I worked with him before, and I directed him in a film, and he said, okay. And then he wrote a short film, and he said, oh, you want to direct this one? So I went to help with that one, and then I pitched, and then actually in that one, it was nominated for a couple of awards, but didn't win. But we're talking in one of the festivals as well, and I was like, oh, I have this idea for the subcontractors for the feature film, and he said, oh, sounds interesting. Let's do it, right? And and then we start talking about it. So he helped me write it as well. So I have some ideas, and then he has others, and I always find. I don't know how you write, but for me, it's very helpful to get someone that is really deep inside the idea, and then come out with stuff, right? With ideas,
Mm-hmm.
and what do you think about this? Because it's a different world, right? Like you come with these other ideas, and sometimes it goes a different direction. And we're writing some things, and then after it's like, oh, we gotta cut it. We gotta cut this thing, so we gotta change that, and have the stuff, right? So for that one, I think first thing was with the money, and then after the one of the main, so the story takes place in Oregon, so I want to have local or in Portland specifically, like local actors and all that, and there's around 30 actors for the film, because there's like 5 stories connected. So there's not one main actor, there's like 5 main actors with 5 stories that interlink at some point, and one of them is a stripper. So that was hard to get because the producers wanted we just get an actor that just play a stripper, right? It's like, well, but they don't know how to pole dancing. It's like, oh, they can learn. It's like, well, I don't know, because pole dancing is hard, right? Like it's not an easy thing, and so we're testing people, but it didn't work out and stuff. And then at the very end, we were luckily to find Charlie Day is her name, and she was great. We just she's like got a great presence, and like the pole dancing is really nice and beautiful, and she has a very like charming. But that was like it was getting close. It was getting close, and we don't have one of the main characters. And I was like, okay, what do I do? Because I was going to strip clubs and gentlemen's clubs and all that, and trying to find and talk to people, and but here in Portland, I mean, it's like a family affair, right? My wife and my friends are coming with me, and then trying to talk and trying to get all those dollars, and like because when you talk to people, you are still giving money, you know what I mean? Because it's that, and but yeah, I mean, eventually, I think like what other stories I have. So we rented a church, right? So the church said, I was asking, oh, can we use a smoke machine? And they tell me, no, you can't, because it's going to set up the alarm. And I was like, oh, we're going to use a smoke machine. And we did, and the fire department came with the huge trucks and all that, and I was like, oh no, and they came, and people were like, who's responsible for this? And so I went to talk to me, and I was like, okay, what's happening? And it's like, oh, we're doing a film and all this stuff, but it's the beauty of a small place, I guess, or a community. And it's like, oh yeah, what kind of film? And I thought, oh, it's a comedy. It's like, oh, where can we watch it? And that was it.
Nice.
They didn't complain or that much, right? But in general, I mean, there were nothing like too big that it was going to be overcome. So there's nothing that would say, okay, we have to like stop, right? I mean, sometimes we have a location, we lost a location, but then we find another one. We rent an apartment flooded.
Oh,
For like, what? How is that? Like the night before, a pipe broke or something, and the apartment was not. But I already went scout that apartment and all that. So then we had to like scramble it, because we had we have the crew already ready. So
yeah.
we were able to find, and that's what I say, having a nice producers really help, and have a scout location scout that we just went on and like find stuff like very soon, right? So there were some challenges, but like, I mean, all of that is kind of like behind the scenes, right? So you don't see any of that, and even like the cast or the crew. I mean, I usually don't bring that up or anything, right? Unless, because I don't think like I don't want to add like stress to the production because we already have a certain amount, right? That so there was not
Yeah.
really. I mean, there were some right kind of things that kind of some glass got broken, so I don't know, $300 $400 got to pay. You know what I mean? Like the stuff and I mean stuff like that. That I mean, I think every production has that because our
Sure.
contingency was like zero, right? So we didn't left any money for unexpected thing, and that's something to learn as well. That is the budget, but you need to have at least something that is going to happen. Might not
Right.
happen, but most likely it's going to happen because things happen.
Your insurance policy. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly
How do you
right.
how do you balance the line between personal experiences and fictional narratives in your scripts?
Well, they're all, for the most part, I mean, they're all personal experiences because a lot of the stuff that I always say, like for another film, it's called Black and White. They ask me, it's like, oh, this is like, like autobiographical, or The Ghost is autobiographical. And it's like, yes, in some way, like, because I create a lot of things, right? So I'm he and she, I'm the, I'm the ghost, I'm the towels, I'm the house. So like in my mind, I'm bringing all those things, right? And some of those ideas is like, I mean, comes out with it has to be personal because it has to be the knowledge that I have accrued through like personal experience, reading, watching TV, films, and ideas comes out, right? So all that mess of things channeled to one point, and that's one of my hardest things to do is narrow down, right? Because I have a lot of things that I wanna do and stuff, and like, but something like triggers, um, and then I'll focus on that, right? So also I like the idea of randomness, like you don't know what the future is. You can control things, but you cannot control other things, and and I think all that. I mean, all this is my experience in some way, right? But then when I come to set, I'm not saying this like this is only me, right? Like only this has got to be the way we got to do things, right? So I'm usually come out with like, okay, this is the structure, and let's work around it to see what that. And a lot of the stuff, I say, okay, what things are valuable and how things are not, or you know. But yeah, I mean, a lot of the stuff, and I like comedy, so a lot of the films I'm making, they're usually dark comedies, like more sarcasm and stuff like that. Uh,
Mhm.
and I think that's fun because I feel like you can tackle any topic if you use comedy. Sometimes when you go to drama, then it's a little more. Well, I don't know. I guess I like more of those better, right? So
Yeah, you can get away with more, right?
I think so. I think you can get a lot of things, trying to do.
Even in this day and age, I think it's interesting. Yeah, I can relate. My in Cousin, there's Asian racism that happens,
Mhm.
and one of the film festival directors was like, she was asking her panel. This she told me this later. She's like, "Can we even show that on the screen?" And it was like, it's a thriller, it's a drama, and it's me. It's against me, and I wrote it. So I mean, uh, but yeah, I think
Mhm.
there's it's interesting the things that you used to do back in the day. You have to be very careful today, right? And I think if it's a dark comedy, then there's some wiggle room for certain
Mhm.
topics that won't quote unquote offend people, I guess, if you will.
Definitely. I mean, I think like obviously the Ghost deals with racism, right?
Yeah.
So then it's like how they deal with that. And if you tell people it's a comedy, it's like, okay, well, but then I say, well, watch it. You know what I mean? I'm not saying like
Yeah.
I always try to be open to feedback, good and bad, because I think they're all valuable, right? So it's like people like it or some people don't, and it's like that's fine. Let me know and they have the conversation, right? So I'm not saying this is just one point of view. This is just one story, right? I'm not saying this is set in stone, and then everybody has to believe or be like that's
Yeah.
the specific thing. It's just one, and I like to do. I usually try to get like edutainment, right? Education and entertainment. I have to have at
Yes.
least an element that I'm trying to portray in a certain way. That is, and then people be surprised or something, right? But yeah, I can definitely, like you're saying, like you can tell stories in a certain way before, and then now it's like okay, but in some way it's like if you go, like if you're gonna analyze any past projects with current values, nothing will survive that, right? Because there was a different time, right? A lot of things people didn't realize or didn't think was at the time, right? But if we cannot, um, to me, I mean, I'm against cancel culture in that terms, because even a person makes a mistake or a film and stuff should be able to have a second chance and have a room to grow, right? Like have to, even they did send something, it's like, okay, that's one, but maybe the next one is like something, right? So
Can you share an experience where your editing transformed a scene beyond what was originally envisioned?
I'll use Ghost of Recent Past for this one, and like, this one scene where people are. So indeed, for this Ghost of Recent Past, there was a challenge because I wanted to be in a house, specific house. It's a friend's house that is a really old house, and I like the way it was built. It has a central core, and you move around like actually in a spiral, and that's how the film, and that's what architecture is thinking of. So I'm thinking graphically, how do you move, right? So how do you enter to the kitchen and go around and go stairs? So it's in a spiral going up, and then the bedroom itself, it was just really small. It was like 10 by 10, so having a crew there, and that's one of the things I should, and one of the producers said, we can just do a different place, but I was a stubborn last time. I wanted that bedroom. And so that was one of the challenges that so we're basically, it was a real skeleton. It was just the DP, the sound guy, myself, and that's it in the room, and right in the corner we can do it, so we're focused so much on the couple. And then when I got the footage, because I edited that part, the script is on the bed, 10 pages.
Oh, you literally, the physical script.
Yep.
Is
The physical script is on the bed. So we're focused, everybody's focused on that, as they should, in the couple. They are the couple in the bed. And what they're doing and stuff, since your eyes, that you got tunnel vision, right? But once you get the edit, when I saw it, it's like, whoa, and then it's okay. So we cannot film again, because it's like, it's just not possible, right? So it's then learning how to clean it, how to like modify that. So luckily now with AI, so that's a good use for it. Basically I use After Effects for it. Creates a mask around it, and with AI fills the gap with the information there is. So if you see it and stuff, for the most part, you don't notice it, but it's not 100% perfect. If I point out to you, you will see it, because sheets don't move in that way. So there's certain. So then when I started getting what edit and on the stuff, that there was another scene we see because it was so small, and we have crews, so it's big. We have one of the arms of the PAs sticking out, right?
Oh no!
On one of the doors frames, and I say, oh, it doesn't look and stuff, but then she moves it, so then it's obvious, right? So have to clean it as well, right? So there's a few things, and in terms of like, I think like what I'm trying to do with understanding, getting better with humor, is timing, how you deliver lines and stuff. So editing, and I found like sound, Foley sounds, and music score really help certain scenes, because sometimes I it's a long process, right? So if since you're writing what you write, what you shoot, and then when you edit, right? So what I was trying to see is how to understand timing when you say lines, where there should be eyesights and that kind of stuff, right? So I think like that's what I find with editing adds a lot to it. Like a lot of people think, oh, just put clips together, but there's a lot of that is very like, in general, but that can enhance a lot, right? That
Tell me about editing. We'll go on this rabbit trail. Editing a comedy, because when you're editing a comedy, you wrote the script, right?
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, and then in your mind you're thinking, this is going to get a laugh, this is going to get a laugh, this is going to. How do you edit for that?
So I usually, I'm saying I'm still learning that. I'm trying to see. So I look a lot of the like stand-up comedy, right? What is the punchline? And I think what I understand is misdirection, right? So you think you're going to go one way, and you come up with something different, and that's what the laugh is, right? But what I found with the Ghost Recent Past, and that's what I like to see it on film festival, movie theaters, is where people react to, because sometimes they react the ones I planned them to react, but sometimes they don't. They find some other things they find it funny, or not only funny, they're like, oh, or like any other reaction. Like sometimes I would like to be in front looking at the audience, like if I could record them to see where they are, and then I can see, okay, where it happened, but because I'm planning a lot of things, I'm planning to be on in a specific spot, and I'm trying to edit to that spot. And sometimes, okay, you know, like if they look into one time, do I want to make that noise? Like, you know, and add
Yeah.
music to it, or that's too much, right? And what kind of comedy is, right? So if it's really like cartoonish comedy, we like, ping, you know what I mean? The sounds are
Right. Yeah.
different too. So that's what I think of. I'm trying to learn, right? So from the product that I'm trying to cut and the actions that I'm trying to highlight or hide, depending on the section that's happening. And then, like, I think the main test or the is to see them when people react to it, like when they see it, and then it's like, okay. And going a little bit back to when you were saying, so I was so Ghost of Recent Past, I was selected to the art show at the Oregon Society of Artists, and that was for painting, and that was for they're trying to include diversity and that kind of stuff, and my films were shown there. So we show them to a different audience, so there's more older audience. So
Mm-hmm.
the head of uh, the director of the art gallery says like, oh, you know, I don't know how they're gonna react because a lot of people are old here, right? Like those stuff.
Yeah.
But and I was like, well, you know, I guess we'll see. But she was brave, right? So the problem would be like she didn't know, she didn't say I'm not gonna show it, right? She's saying it's like it's selected, we're gonna do it, but she was kind of warned me that it's like, hey, you might have a not as welcoming reaction, right? But when we did, like people were like laughing and stuff, and then came out and it's like have some like interest, which and that was one of the audiences that uh were laughing a lot of things that I was not meant to be laughed at in some way.
Oh,
But
interesting.
I feel like in some way I'm trying to understand. Once they understand it's a comedy, I feel like they're more inclined to laugh at things
Yeah.
than it's just you know what I mean. I feel like there is a collective consciousness that it kind of kicks in at some point, like with that. And I feel like the same thing with dramas and other or sci-fi or that. I think there is a collective consciousness when they're in a theater that drives the whole thing because it's not only one person laughing. A lot of people laugh at some point.
Yeah. I mean, it I can relate to what you're saying because some people, once you know it's a comedy, it's supposed to be funny, you kind of let your guard down a little bit. You're like, okay, I'm
Mhm.
gonna have fun with it. But then if it's a drama, you're like, okay, is this realistic or does this look real? Is this really what would happen? You know what I mean? People
Mhm.
have those biases. I like to call them biases.
Mhm.
But tell me, what's your approach to directing actors to bring out the very best performances while maintaining your vision?
So I usually like it starts at the very beginning with the casting. So I usually trying to see like so I usually don't send the stuff out just on Facebook or Instagram or something and say you want to be here because I've been in projects like that and then reactions the problem has been commitment. Like sometimes people actors that came that really I'm not, you know, they say I'll do it and then not, right? So I usually try to be more selective with the actors, right? And then I usually tell them up front, this is what it is, right? So they have the script, this is what I'm trying to achieve. Let me know you feel comfortable, right? So it's like if there's nudity, that you're comfortable with this kissing. If there is violence, if there is, you know, sarcasm, are you comfortable with it? Are you, you know, willing to do those things, right? So I'm doing another project there. It's a drag queen talk show, and one of the actors that invited from my other projects, he has to wear like a thong, right? He's a man, he's got to do a thong, and he has to do he's a plumber, you know, put a plumber's crack, right? And you feel comfortable with that, and he's like, yeah, I'll do it. So you know, and so I think that since that is the very beginning, and then after that, I'm trying to that okay, if there's a couple, for example, it's like uh, I usually, if I can, I try to bring to the audition to bring the other actor that we'll be working with. So that person, that actor has the say and say, okay, which one you feel more comfortable working with. So we run the scene without any, you know, I guess, you know, just the sides or whatever. And from
Mhm.
there, then I think like the main things that I do most of the how I work is directing them through rehearsals because I think those are the ones. Because my goal and a lot of stuff is that when filming, acting is not the issue. So there's going to be a lot of things. Let's get that acting done, like for most part. So like we're trying to figure out things and trying to okay, do you like this? You know, if you're gonna hug for the right, the left, trying to go all those logistics, or you're gonna you know take out your clothes. How are you gonna do it? So one motion is all like whatever. How are you gonna grab the glass? What kind of? So let's figure out those things beforehand. And I think we work with the actors then. It's like, and then have any concerns or anything, just let me know. If you're uncomfortable, tell me at the moment. You can just always, we can have a separate conversation, or you find something that you like, or you have suggestions, can see that it's always, I will tell them, like, for the most part, the script is fixed. We'll change a little bit thing, but not a lot, because that will trigger a lot of things, right? And I usually don't make decisions on the spot about script and all that, because sometimes the decisions relates to other decisions that they're not connected in that specific scene. And
Right.
they could be saying a word that someone else says, like, 5 minutes before, that is relevant for whatever reason. And so it changes. So I usually don't try to make those kind of decisions, but I'm trying to work with them through. So ideally, at least have like 3 rehearsals with the actors. And especially there's more than 2, there's 3 or 4 or 5, how that works. How's the blocking, how you interact with each other, if you're gonna, and that's, I think, like, it's been helping, because there's you can then, I find the actors to be more relaxed, and they can then just bring things and they just say whatever, this work. So once we get on set, it's like, hopefully we'll have a lot of things in what we rehearse translate, right? So I try to make it the set with the studio wherever we are similar to that. So if we were going to film in a room, or I mean in a kitchen, we'll tape the floor with the dimensions, most like, okay, this is the counter, this is whatever, this chair represents this, and then this is so you're gonna come here. So we already have the ideally we have the location, and people come out there, okay, now I see how this works. You're gonna enter here, you're gonna do these things. I like the idea of controlling, well, not control, or trying to see how people move in space, and how we're gonna capture that, right? How we're gonna be, and if ideally we have the director of photography on those rehearsals, or I try to record it. I mean, use a phone or something, and we talk about it, and that helps with the what's it called, the storyboard. That helps that
Mm-hmm.
to have a vision. And so all those things, I think, are trying to get them to, trying to the actors, like, they're the a big part, but there's like the most important part, but there's a lot of things moving, right? So it can help us in any way, will help you, and trying to get everybody to be in the same channel, right? In the same mental state. And I think it really,
Yeah.
and then I find that once it gets on set, then, because things are going so much, like lights not working, we need more power in there's a lot of things. And at least I think, like, that's it's just really helpful to have, to me, to have the rehearsals. And I find it special with a human touch. Like, I think we are naturally, um, we naturally defend ourselves in some way to, like, be a little bit distant. So I think, as a couple, like, being close, I think that's, or not only as close friends or whatever, hugging or stuff. So it's your body, your friend, how to, like, interact. And I think that really, I found really help with actors to just feel, like, comfortable with each other.
Yeah, kind of break down those walls. So
Mhm.
you said that you don't post like open calls for auditions or anything. Do you handpick your actors then?
Yeah. So for the most part, so I handpick the actors that I know, if I know it, but if not, I'll try to go to people that I know, that I trust, right?
Mhm.
Other actors that they give me recommendations, um, or other people in the industry as well, right? So how, like, you were, so, but the thing that I don't say for to poster stuff, and for the subcontractors specifically, it was because I didn't want to do because it was time crunch, right? So when you have a lot of time, and so when you get that, put it on Facebook stuff, you're gonna get hundreds of submissions. You got to review all those submissions just to see who is. And we only did in person uh, auditions, because I felt like, because there was no time for me to, like, and for that specific project, because we have so many, to review submissions, and then, like, making come, and then make the selection. And so it was more like faster in some way, because we have like 5, they came their stuff, we make that selection, and then we'll help to the next, because we have around 30 actors, right? So we have to, like, then be more
Yeah.
efficient. And I would say it's like here, like, and I'm sure where you're at, it's like who the actors are for the most part, right?
Looking at a film from your perspective, then it's kind of a dumb question, but for people who don't have the experience and people who don't, never been to an audition, what is it you're specifically looking for when you're doing your auditions? Is it, features of the person, or is it that they can act and know the lines, or is it the way they react to the situation, or is it you're visually, like, obviously when you're writing the script, you have somewhat of a visual representation in your mind of what you want to happen and what the person may look like. Does that ever come into play?
Yeah. So usually the first part is like, I'll say, okay, I have this character. It's gonna be this. If it's a tough guy, well, in my mind, okay, I have this person on the stuff, right? It's probably have to have certain features or a certain way. So what is so I usually try to, when I'm gonna do in person, because I'm trying to look commitment, because a lot of the projects that I'm doing, they're small, they're budgets of, okay, do you think there's value in you acting and this is a value piece, or you're gonna go um, to a different project because it pays you more? Because that's what happened to me couple times, 2 or 3 times, right? So we have an actress, and it's like, yeah, we're working with her. We're filming on Friday. Wednesday, say I got a better job. So for Friday, then we have to find an actor in 2 days to pick up that. And I was like, well, I thought like, well, so one of the things I'm thinking is commitment. So the person comes prepared. Do they brought a headshot with their stuff? Like I usually don't ask them to bring a headshot. So it's like, but then I feel like if you're an actor, I think it's the minimum you can bring. Just your headshot and your resume. So or stuff, or send me that or stuff like that. And I don't expect actors to know their lines. I mean, they can read it, that's fine, right? But if you know the lines, that means like you really want, or you earn a little bit more, right, than the others. And then through the audition is not only the audition of the part who reads. Usually we have a little conversation. What is your experience? How do you like this? What do you think about the project? If they have any comments, do they have any feedback? And then we go do the scene, right? So usually we'll have another actor that plays the other part, because usually actors, they're not monologues for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
They play the other part, and we'll go from there, right? So how, like, in a lot of times it's subjective, right? Do I like the way that person performed? They did that, and feedback, right? Telling feedback, can you do it this way? And that's in general how to work, right? So then we'll have, I mean, if ideal, then we'll have a callback, right? So we'll have this time we really like this 2 or 3. Can they come back? And then we'll have an answer, right? So and I think in some way too, it's like we're looking um, their body expressions and their looks in some way too, right? So it's like
Sure.
if you're looking for, don't say you're looking for a tough guy, what is a tough guy look? In for the most part, I know there are stereotypes in some way, and I'm trying to get away from that in some way too. But uh, and I'm open to other things. Sometimes people come out with like, oh, I didn't think that. Like sometimes people come out with one role, and after um, discussing with the producer and stuff, it's like, oh, I think this person would be better for this other role, depending on that performance. Oh, I think she did really good in this one, but so there is like sometimes ask people to come back for a different role, and then they get that role instead of the original one that they were invited for.
Yeah.
So it's so always trying to tell people, what people is like, that it's not a finished product. That's what I think to me is very important to say. It's like we're working to find that, and we're gonna work, and we're gonna get it. But be patient. We'll get there. Together.
That's interesting because it just sounds like it's really kind of, you're constantly massaging the process to make it just, you pick your actors for whatever reason, and then it just raises that level for you to go, okay, maybe this is going to work this way. And it's kind of like Tetris. You're just kind of moving parts around, but you have that frame. It's going to fit in this box, but the pieces may move a little bit. What would you say is the most significant lesson you've learned from directing The Blind Kitchen that you've applied to your narrative films?
Well, a lot of the things for the cooking show, I just learned a lot of just like how blind people uh, work. How to, like, Deborah Erickson is the host, and it's just amazing how knowledge she has, and how, like, she's able to, like, basically do everything, right? So it's like how to, like, like myself, when I cook, I burn myself. She has those techniques, right? To how to fry, how to, like, cut, how to bake, how to do all those things, right? So I think, like, And in this one, like a lot of my work, what I'm doing in specific, when she's not an actor, right? She's a teacher. She teaches blind people how to cook. So she used to work at the Oregon Commission for the Blind, and she has this idea to sell tools to help people. So I help. So for each tool, we make a video, teach people why is it blind friendly, how to use it, how to clean it, how to store it, all the stuff. And but she has so much knowledge. Not only cooking don't start in the kitchen, right? So you gotta go buy food. How do you know what is the difference between a can of beans and a can of tomatoes and a can of peas and everything? So there's techniques for that. How do you know what you're wearing, what color is your clothes? How to go to eat in a restaurant? How do you know where your forks are? How to use your plate? And so she has a lot of things. And I think probably the main reason, instead of the main lesson I have learned through that project is uh, teach people how film works. So for her, I was trying to explain, like we do different takes. So for her, she at the very beginning, she thought she was doing it terribly, that she's doing it wrong. Because I tell her, like, oh, we're gonna, do it again. Like at a different take, and let's do it one more time. So we do it in a, trying to explain how things work. And one of the things I learned is like most people that are blind, they're not 100% blind. They have some kind of vision, and that's what happened. That's how she is. She can see the difference between day and night, and she can see really bright spot of lights as well. So in the studio we have it's a kitchen studio in Oregon City. It's called Willamette Falls Studios, and they have a working kitchen with 5 cameras already mounted.
Nice.
So there's 3 in the front, there's 1 above and 1 behind. So every time we want Deborah to have an eyesight to that camera, to look at the camera, so we put a light in front of the camera and shake the light, so she know in the vicinity where the light is, where the camera is. So it's just understanding all those nuances and all those different things to get a bigger product. And that's that project has been a very successful project. We have 85 episodes so far, and
Wow.
and I have other like 3 or 4 that I'm editing, and we're gonna get back to the studio, and she's doing good. I mean, she's been doing podcasts in Australia, England, Ireland, New Zealand, and so she sells stuff all over the place. And then she goes to conferences. She teaches online, and she does a lot of things. But I think for specific filmmaking and stuff, I think like what I have learned is like how to like you have to be able to meet everyone at certain point, and you have to be a teacher in some way to tell how things work and how like explain. Because at the very beginning I was just doing it and I was not explaining why things was happening, and I think that's hard. And I think for actors and for other, not only actors but in general, DP and all the stuff, you have to explain what is your vision. And I find sometimes that's hard, because if you don't have a storyboard, stuff like that, how do you tell, okay, I want this to happen? It's like, well, how? Communication I think is sometimes challenging, but I think communication is one of the things I'm gonna get better and trying to get to. Okay, this is what I want, what I see, and then I use references. Okay, I see this film and then this, and I trying to like put the stuff together, but then things don't work or whatever, right? But you work it out, right?
So you're not just telling actors, I want you to start over there, end up right here, action.
Yeah, exactly, right.
Like,
so
let me just break it down for you. Yeah, yeah. How do you decide on your visual style for each of your projects, and how does that enhance the emotional tone of your films?
For black and white, so that's a short film, so that it deals with the meaning of the words black and white in relation to race and ethnicity, right? So it's just a description in the dictionary: black, negative; white, positive. And that's basically right. So we have, and I want it to be like really visually like saturated colors, right? So I want it to be, the main actor is a black actor, and basically it's blue and red lights that hits his body at all times. So in that one, I want it to be like very like dark, because there's a dark stuff, and then put music in that one. Stuff it's a combination, right? So it's like it gets really dark at the very beginning with the description of the word black, and as white comes in, it lights up in some way, right? So and I usually would do visual style, like for the subcontractors. I look for other. We'll say, okay, I'm trying to be a good student of films that I enjoy, that I see. How do they do it? How to deal with light, how to modify light, and how to enhance that specifically. and now I'm working more with the interior designers or set designers that help me say, okay, what are the elements that are these, what feelings, how the space enhance the personality of the individual, right? Where he lives, what he does, right? So if it's a house that is homey, and it's an older couple, or it's a younger that lives in a glass house, like how that works, and how if it's a for the subcontractor specifically, we start, so there's 5 characters, so we start at the top and then goes down, right? So the first one lives basically in a glass house, clean clean lines, wood floors.
Let me pause you for a sec. Did you find a glass house to film in?
Well, it's just a glass walls around it, right?
Okay.
So it's just a stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, no, it's not a. It's a metaphor, not literal.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, that like I can't think of the nuances of filming inside a glass house with all the reflections and lights. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, so we have issues with that. It's basically it's a condo with all the walls, exterior walls are glass. So
wow,
so that's one of the challenges, right, for the DP,
Yeah.
right? It's like, okay, we're gonna first we decided.
Like, I'm not the DP on this one. I'm handing it over.
So we did a location scout. So we decided to do it at night because we have less reflections. So we started filming around 9, and we went all night. And one of the things, right, is like the same thing of funnel vision. There's one scene that one of the characters puts a cup. It's a close up with a cup in the counter. And the same thing, you have a funnel vision. You see the cup in the counter. And when I saw the footage, they saw the whole frame, the sound mixer was wearing red shorts that day. So you see the red shorts in you see the red shorts in the reflection. So luckily we're filming, I think it was 4K and stuff, so I was able to just crop it. So it was a quick fix.
Oh, nice.
But it was so funny because like you're like we're looking at extreme close up, but there is like, and it was really obvious red shorts. But yeah, so that's the so that's always trying to get the style to be something like that. And if it's a little darker, we're trying to do like fog machines or stuff like that, and to capture light or something like that. And then I'm trying to work now more with set designers to see, okay, what elements, what the people's on the walls, what is on the hands, how they and everything like visually is like costume design. Sometimes actually have people create new costumes and nothing too elaborate, right? But it's like, okay, how is this a person will work and deal with these things, wearing these things, right? How they are like, and I think all of those, I think they're kind of like creates. And after that is like color grading, right? So why like always have, okay, there's the film style that like all the colors match throughout the film. Doesn't matter if it's day, night, and that kind of stuff. But usually for my films, I usually try to go from like for Ghost of Recent Past, it starts in the morning, ends at night. So the morning light is different than the afternoon light, than the night, right. So that's, and even though it's indoors, but you get the different kinds. So to me, it's like, I think I'm more and more that in an oil film, like even though you want light to be what is it called, the same throughout in some way, but in reality it's different, right? Because you go out, there's in the real world, there's incandescent lighting, there's natural light, there's fluorescent light, all at the same time. But what I've learned obviously is like, you don't want to have that in your set, right? You don't want to have those things, which I think is fine, but in some way, I'm not as pure, or that's not my style, I'll say, right? So I try to control as much. We film in a supermarket. It's a Mexican market. It's a huge market. It's like 10,000 square feet or something like that. And we can control some of the light, but not all of it, because sometimes I don't even have access to it because it was so high. And we have to work what we have and we modify, but that's what it is, right? And that was basically incandescent, fluorescent, natural lights. There was music. We told people, "Oh, can you be quiet for a minute?" But the people still put in their music, and so it's a challenge, right? Because when I told them, "Oh, how long it's gonna take?" Right? Oh, it's probably around 8 hours, and it was like, way more than that.
Right? Surprise.
Yeah.
Yes. I've been on sets like that where you're like, oh, I guess I'm gonna stay here a little longer. one last main question, then we'll start closing it up. How do you balance the creative needs of your budget and the constraints? And have you ever had anything that where you had a budget for something but it didn't go through? How do you deal with that?
Well, the idea would be contingency, right? You probably have a small amount of money for something um, goes wrong or something, but always like my idea of that, the show must go on, right? So it's like we'll find a way. So there was uh, go back to the subcontractors, like something happened with an actor, we're gonna film one day, and then we have to then change the location in a different date. So we lost the that location
Right.
because the person that was not available. So then we had to like forward route. So that added cost to the production. But I was trying to then scramble, trying to find those things, and then talk to the producers. Like we have to do it because if not, trying to get the cast and the crew down to go back one day is very hard, right? Because this is the momentum, and especially I feel because you're acting one scene and then this happens on film the next second, but this is happening a week after. And I think if you left
Oh.
a lot of time, I think it's hard to pick up a lot of things. It's a momentum, or in my field, that I find that everything clicks, that everything goes well, and everybody's on the same page. And I know there's probably a way to. We thought of the possibility of making the film just on weekends through a long time, and I was like, no, let's do it in a short period of time, but like intense, and just get it done, because I feel there's a lot, especially just like trying to follow like the rhythm. I think the rhythm of acting, the rhythm and stuff, I think gets lost. So I usually try to find a way to make it happen. So if it's money, like I usually try to say, well, money is not be the issue, but it's always the issue. How you can make that work, and how like at this point, and then once you have it, it's okay. Well, how then you can then work it out in post or something. But yeah, try to make it work.
Yeah. How long was the shoot for Subcontractors?
Subcontractor
How
was
many
like
days?
12 days.
Wow. Okay. And you were able to do it in consecutive days.
So we have so we were not able to rest because I have a 1 day for rest, and that's when we lost the house. So then we have to use that day to film again, and so people are not happy. It is a little bit long, or it was like a stuff. So that's, but I mean, talking to people, the thing is, it was long for the crew, but not necessarily for the actors, because the actors was only there for 2 or 3 days each group, and then we'll have another group, and we keep moving the part, and then they get together, that kind of thing, kind of thing. So, but yeah, so it was a little bit of a challenge, but it was pretty fun. I was pretty proud of everyone and to be able to do it as well.
And then now you're in post.
Yeah, we're in post now, so we have already the fine cut, and we're doing a music score right now. So we're pretty close to having the final, and then we're gonna send it to color grading as well.
Oh, okay. So you don't do your own color grading then?
Not for this one, because if it's a smaller ones, I do, but this one's trying to make, because I feel like I want to like experiment things and trying to do other stuff, and then we'll say, okay, how can do this here? So I know a person that has more experience than mine. Say, okay, can we change this color, this blue to green?
Wow. Okay.
So let's see it, right? Just an example. We're not doing that, but or maybe we are, or maybe we are. I don't know.
Yeah.
You got to see it.
So what's next? What else do you have? What else are you working on, and what do you have going for the future?
Well, the Subcontractors is trying to finish that one, and what I'm really working on now is understanding distribution. So trying to we met with a person that distributor consultant is trying to help us like how to do it. So probably going to do like film festivals, and we'll see, right? So for small projects like this one, I don't know if we're going to do theatrical release, because I think like it's hard, like if you don't have a name to people to come, like people don't know anything about the film and just see it, they're going to probably go. So I don't know if it's worth spending the money and time on that, but I'm trying to figure out, because obviously we'll love to see it, right? So that's probably going to take a little bit of time. And then for Costa Rican Pass, where we have 4 film festivals coming up this month. In September, and just trying to get, and for that one, actually, we have distribution already. We have it's on
oh, nice.
It's on Amazon Prime and Tubi already. But I'm not
very cool.
I'm not telling people yet, because some of the film festivals So good thing your podcast is coming out soon.
Yeah.
Don't want to have distribution, right? And I get distribution for this one through Los Angeles Shore Film Festival. They put a compendium of like 4 or 5, I think, films, and that's what is on Amazon Prime, because they don't, or in Tubi, because Tubi don't take short films, but when you put it together, then it's a bigger film. So it's like, oh, and they're not, the topics are not related, so it can be anything. So I was like, oh, maybe that's another way. I'm thinking, oh, maybe I'll talk to some people that want to have their films, and maybe we'll put them in, and then so it has, it's that, and then the Blank Kitchen is still a project that keeps going on. So we're going back to the studio a couple times this in September, another one in October. So she has a lot of like ideas, and we're growing. A lot of people are asking questions as well. So now people are asking, oh, how do you cook ground beef, right? And so I think the next one we're going to do a video teaching people how to do it. So how to, like, what the tools, and how to go. We have another project. It's called Lulu's Clubhouse, and it's a drag queen talk show, and we're trying to highlight local businesses. So it is a very like a Pee-wee's Clubhouse kind of show. So everything is very bright, primary colors. And I'm in the studio, and then she goes Magic Umbrella Travels. So we're gonna have special effects going and through the City of Portland lands and different places. So some of them owned by queer or women or BIPOC. So we have a bookstore, cafe that sell plants, and then a food cart. We have a skate shop. So we have done 5 episodes, and but it needs to be edited and stuff. So I think we're looking at that for like probably January. And we just filmed just last weekend. We filmed the green screen. We created this like 8-foot hand made out of like PVC and like I don't know, I remember stuff, and then with cables and try to grab, and it's pretty fun, and everything was falling apart. And so those are the ones, and I'm looking out. I mean, always trying to get other, projects, and they send me usually like scripts or something like that, and usually the main thing is like, okay, do you have a budget? That's usually the main question. And
who sends you these?
so a lot of the people is like people that find me or something on internet, or sometimes Facebook, or sometimes in person, like they're and sometimes like you realize we're talking to people, friends of friends, stuff like that, right? So it's like
networking then.
Yeah, networking and trying to send, and I usually take it and say, okay, what is it? A lot of people come out because they don't know what it is. Like one of them want to do a film in a golf course, right? And I was like, well, you have a budget, because that's how you're gonna how much it's gonna cost, right? And it's like, can it just have to be a golf course? Can it just be a park? Stuff like that. Or you know what I mean? How much the golf bar is relevant to the story, And
can we do a putt golf?
That would be funny saying that. And so the story was, and there's another one that wanted the stories in a high school, and I was like, well, how are you gonna get a high school? You know what I mean? It's like those are like, I think that's probably really hard, even for big productions, because you probably have all this insurance and all those things, and then how are you gonna get, or people want to get like, like kids, or stuff like that, where it's like, well, do you know any kids are actors? How look at the logistics, and then when we say how much it's gonna cost, because a lot of times people think that you can do your phone, you can do those things, but the quality is gonna be this. If you want to do it like more, there's gonna be this, and then each person you gotta pay, and then a lot of my time it kind of is like goes, saying that, kind of teaching and telling people like what it is in some way, right? Trying to get, and then I help other people, like usually assistant director or editing as well, stuff like that.
Because you're an editor too, right? So on these other shows that you're doing the main editing, correct?
Yeah. So I do the main editing, and mostly all the films I've done, I do those things. But then I start working with other people to try to say, okay, how much is efficient, right? And then the style of editing, right? Because I have one point for the subcontractors, the trying to get another, like a second editor, right? So I did one part and tried to get other people to do another. And okay, how is this coming out, right? How this is different, or how to modified, and but in general, I mean, I'm trying to produce more, and hopefully, as the business grows, I just get people to help, right? To help be more efficient and take stuff out, right?
I want to ask you something real quick. I know I'm having a good conversation with you.
Likewise.
You wrote Subcontractors, you directed it. So, and you're having someone else edit it. How do you maneuver those things? Because I know you've already made films, you've directed them, and you've edited them and written them. You've edited it the way you'd want it to be edited. How do you
Mhm.
hand that off and trust another editor to edit your film?
So for this one, I'm still editing like a lot of that, but I was going to have like an assistant editor kind of thing. But
Okay.
yeah, but what I was trying to get, I would say, okay, well, one is time, right? Because I'm trying to get this stuff out, and I've been busy with other things, and it's taking longer. And I think in some way, I think like I get the same thing. I get a tunnel vision and focus on certain things, and want to do it in this way. And I feel like
Yeah.
sometimes it's like takes me it's a little hard for me to step back and okay, let's look at our picture. And that's what I found is like um, I start working with other editor, and they say, oh, can you do this? Like he's gonna tell me that he just send me the things, right? It's like okay, and then I look at it and I look at the mind. It's like oh, okay, do I like it? Do I think right? So then and some of the scenes I just like he just does the first pass and I'm more like reviewing, right?
Okay.
But since I know the footage as well, I'm saying, okay, can we have this? Or we forget about this, or can we have a different angle, or this actor or not? Or and a lot of times like we don't have it. We don't have that angle, right? We should have,
Yeah.
now because that's what I'm learning too. Like when I see the footage, oh, we should capture this in this different way. We could do it we could do it a pan or whatever, but we don't have it, right? So we kind of, and I think I mean, that's the downside of small productions, right? That sometimes you have to cut certain things so you don't see.
Mm-hmm.
But I like it.
Yeah.
I like working with other editors, and then a lot of things too. Like you learn as well, right? It's like I've been doing this for like I don't know, around 7 years, but there's people doing this for like 20 years. So just
Mm.
how to do things, how to transition stuff, how to how things flow, and obviously, I
Yeah.
mean, if you see like one of the when I was at school, one of the main exercise that I thought was very interesting, we took one scene from a classic movie. The teachers give us the raw footage and say put it together. You
Oh yeah.
know, yeah, put it together like this 2 minutes, and then we saw it, and then a lot of the edits were different. They were so different from one each other, even though it's the same footage.
I
And then
love that.
and then after that, we saw that clip, and they say we do a classic movie because a lot of people don't see them and don't know them, right? And we
Yeah.
saw that, and it's like, oh, this is the way well, that's the way it was shot and edited, and this is what I thought, and it's kind of
Yeah.
interesting because everybody's different.
I love exercises like that because then you really get to see other people's perceptions and what it means. And I think acting is kind of like that too. When from an actor's perspective, you give someone the lines and you see them read it, and you give someone on the same lines and they totally read it differently. They enunciate it, or they put different emotions or different tones and nuances on it. I love that part.
Hmm.
So we're gonna dock the ship. We're gonna close this up. Let me ask you, what is your favorite technology?
Let me see what factor. Well, I mean, like if anything, I was going to say camera, right? I think a lot of that depends where you do it,
Sure.
right? So for the subcontractors, we use Black Magic Extra, I think it's called. I don't even remember the specific name, but like always when I started, I actually started with like film, and then just having that. There was this old cameras that the batteries had to be actually attached to it. They had a pack of batteries. They had to literally
Yeah.
be connected, and you got to carry them, and you had to that. And I don't know, it was pretty fun to get the mechanics of it, and um, and I think that's very interesting. And I think that's a lot of that. But then it's just understanding how technology and how those things can get you to a different place, to a different how a jib or whatever a crane can get you a shot that cannot. So I think the technology is a tool to a result, right? It's like a computer, all that. And I think for
Yeah.
AI, for example, like I mean, there's always good and bad, right? But the good one, like I was telling you, is like for that script. When I
Yeah.
saw it, I was like, oh, I was like literally, oh no,
You know, it's,
and
it's I'm going to pause you for a second. I could tell you watch some of the other interviews because this is one of the questions when it comes to AI. Yeah.
yeah. So that's I mean, I think it affects the industry, but the way I say it's progress, right? I mean, I think in
Yeah.
some way there's going to be good and bad, right? So I thought that for a long time we thought radio is going to kill the books, and then TV is going to kill the radio, and or TV is going to kill film, and film is going to kill stuff, and CDs destroy LPs and vinyl, and so I think there's always, or like CDs now are dying, right? Nobody's trying to save CDs because
Right. Cars don't even have them anymore. The CD
yeah, you
players.
can have it. I mean, I get CDs. I don't think you can play, and computers don't have it anymore. You have CD players, and I
Yeah.
mean, I used to have Netflix. Used to have send you CDs every couple of weeks or every week,
That's
and
right.
and now and not too long ago. I mean, maybe like until last year, and then now everything is streaming, right? Because there's no benefit necessarily because you get the TVs are so advanced now; they're like very good quality.
I think there's a few red boxes out there. I don't know if
Oh
they're still around.
no, I see that the grocery store has one. So I think
Yeah.
I think in general it's like what do you do with it, right? So I think like it's like a Planet of the Apes, right? The first film, right? So they're trying to get that if there was no weapons, there would not be violence. That's the main thing, right? But there is. So what is the?
Yeah.
I think it's more like what you do with it, right? How you do stuff. Or I think like a lot of that was. I think what the strike was the writing, right? Like if you're gonna take writing, and I think at some point there might be something. I went to a short film festival, and then they did an experiment. They shot a film. They do it in AI, and you just ask AI to write a script, and they shot it.
Mhm.
And we saw the film, and it was just not good, right? But then
It wasn't good.
No, it wasn't good. Like the story, like it was like like a film noir detective, like film fatale kind of thing. So they
Yeah.
asked to write it, they wrote it and stuff. But then not only that, every question, every problem came out on set, they'll ask as well. The lighter is not working, so they'll ask AI to resolve it. And
Oh.
they show, and then they created what is it called, the storyboard and everything. So there were characters that have two heads and five hands, and they couldn't. So for that specific, but what I found interesting because they did it, they did the experiment, and it was not good, But they show
Yeah.
it, and when they show it, everybody's like, okay, what are we watching? And then they explain what it was, and it's like, oh, I see, interesting.
Yeah.
So I think I think it's a tool like
Huh.
everything else. I think it's a tool like that can. But then I think like never like gonna replace. It's still like humans making the decision, making the stuff, because a lot of times you get into stories. I mean, I think like we don't give enough credit like how advanced our brains are, for example, or humans in general. What we're doing right now, I mean, takes like so much intellectual power just to talk and move your hands and look and check the screen on stuff that robots or computers cannot mimic, at least not for now.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah, so I'm optimistic
Interesting.
about it. I mean, it's progress, right? So when you get airplanes,
Right.
you know what I mean? We only have airplanes for 100 years or something like that, right? In our
Yeah.
history, and now
Some of them are losing their doors though.
I know. That's funny. Like, here, imagine you were there and come out and stuff. Yeah, sounds crazy. But I mean, cars. We're talking about cars as well. They're not that far. I mean, we only have cars for like, I don't know, 200 years or 150 or something like that, right? And our
Yeah.
society, everything has changed to adapt them.
It's good as a tool, right? But do you think AI will ever change? Or I think was it LA? Some of the unions are striking right now because the actors in the video game community want to
Mhm.
stay as actors, versus AI taking over and utilizing their voice. I mean, they got so many apps now that can change your voice.
Mhm.
They got apps that can change your face, right? So I think when it comes to like films, do you ever foresee, and I guess I won't ask you that question because that's kind of a dumb question, but the thought of, hey, I can't find an actor, so I guess I'll create one on the computer to fit my scene. And would that ever happen?
Well, I mean, I think already happening, right? So have you seen all the CGI that's done, like all those Marvel movies and all the stuff, right? All those actors that are dying in the background before films, like Lawrence of Arabia and all that, they have thousands of actors in the desert. But now with
That's a good point.
CGI, all those in the background,
Yeah.
they're not there, right?
Yeah.
So, and I mean, that's a
Good point.
long time as well, like for, what's it called? Everything Everywhere All at Once. I think it won the Oscar
Yes.
for it. So it's a great film and stuff. But then I was looking at a little piece, an article or something like that. So the scene where they're on the um, when the what's it called? What's the name of the actors? So they're in an office space.
Hmm.
The shot was really close into them and stuff. That all the background was just painted, literally just drawn on the. But you don't see it because nobody's moving. It's an empty office. So that's always been the case, right? So like not always, but a long time since the beginning of film. Sometimes you have paint. You're not in the woods. It's a
Right.
painting. You know what I mean? They
Yeah.
put all the stuff. So for AI, like I think the argument would be if you replace the main characters, either they'll be right. But that's basic animation, isn't it? We have 3D animation already that
Yeah.
does that, and a lot of those animations look really real, and they create those. So I mean, I feel like the vision is not that black and white. I think we're already doing that, and we're doing that for a long time. Like video games, even if you can put the like for basketball, right? You can put the face of LeBron James in the whatever, but then
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
pays LeBron. But I mean, you can just do a face of of whoever now, and now you can create. And I would say to me, it will be stop motion animation, for example, as well, right? You take an object, you make it move. That object is not moving, so it's fooling you in some way. So I feel like to me, it is a it's an evolution. It's a progress. We don't really want that necessarily in some ways, but I would say nobody's trying to save CDs now, right? Nobody's
Right.
trying to save
Right.
like the small cameras they used to have. Now we have cell phones. That
Yeah.
that cameras is they're gone, right? Nobody buys the small cameras. So there's always, I think, like with every generation they will change to a different, because now we're streaming. Before it was physical, and I think we're moving more to like electronic media and that kind of thing. So I mean, I think like to me, I would say it's a positive. I mean, it's not linear. I guess I would say it's not something that you say, okay,
Right.
this is good and this is bad. There are going to be good things and going to be bad, and they can be as can they're like you say AI can be self-conscious. Can they feel that they are human, that they're alive or something, right? And they might,
Hmm.
for a point, but they're all being depending how they're programmed, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean,
It's
in some way, I think to me it's fun because I like science fiction as well, and I think that it's
yeah.
like seeing that's like, oh, they're gonna take over and stuff. Like maybe they should. There's the whole human race, and maybe like the planet will go back to being like nice,
They're gonna beat us to submission. All right, we'll be nice. We'll be nice. Edgar, it's been a pleasure having this conversation with you. Thank you for coming on the Downing Cut. How can people reach you?
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, go to my website, nayocreative.com, and yeah, send me an email. And every time there, I'm on social media as well. Nayo Creative Productions or Edgar Garcia Chavez as well. And I'm always looking for to make new connections and talk to people and see what people has to say, what kind of ideas and you sharing. And like I think we're in a business the business side of it is kind of like the not fun part, but it's like it's great to actually see other people's creations, especially like the big screens. Always, if you can, come to film festivals and go to theaters, enjoy other people's reactions, and yeah, if I can, I mean, if you have any projects, let me know. Let's collaborate.
Yeah, I think you're living the dream that a lot of us want to do, and that's become a full-time filmmaker and do that for a living. And I see you at all the film festivals that you've entered, and I think that's so cool. That's one of the dreams that my wife and I have is to go to the film festival that we actually entered into.
Nice.
So congratulations and thank you again. And thanks for coming on the Downing Cut.
Yeah, thank you very much, and congratulations to you as well. We'll see you at the Seattle Film Summit. I think that's the one.
Yeah, except it'll be past when this comes out.
Yeah, we're
All
time
right.
traveling.
That's right. Backwards.
Yeah, I know.
Have a good one.
Okay, man. Nice talking to you.